Hi, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Sheridan.
And together we're Sippin' on Spice podcast.
Yes. And once a week, Jordan and I get together and we review a book that we've recently read. And we treat it like a girls' night. So we're going to say everything that you were already thinking. Now it is Sippin' on Spice. So you're going to want to grab a beverage.
Yep. And we're going to rate everything on a star scale, on a scale of 1 to 5, depending on how good we think the book was, as well as a penny scale. We use pennies instead of a spice because if you can picture a penny pasta, you can picture why we do it.
Yes, and this week we're going to be reviewing Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. And if you like what you hear today, please like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yep. I am so excited to talk about this.
Yes.
I have been alone for
days. 80 years. What does that mean? It's been 80
You had the audacity to vacation.
Oh, I know. I know. How dare I go on vacation?
My reading chat.
I know. I'm so excited to talk about this. This is going to be a great episode. Like I said, when we were talking one-on-one before we hit recording, I have notes in 3 places. I have so many notes. And I have, I've been a scribe. I'm scribing. And I have taken tabs because I have some things I want to share with you, and I brought receipts and evidence.
I am honestly shocked that you tabbed. I have never once in my life been motivated enough to tab something, so honestly, hats off.
Thank you. I was gonna fold the ears, but then I'm like of the page, but it makes the look not pretty, and then I was like, how can I remember this page?
Have you seen? I watched this TikTok where somebody did like a combo of icks that somebody can do to a book, and they earmarked it, highlighted, did all these things, and I was like, oh, my skin crawled watching it, and I watched it to the end like some sort of torture.
It's like those cringe videos where you watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Whenever I think of highlighting pages, I think of school, not wanting to, different.
Or my Fourth Wing book that I got secondhand.
When they made it very PG.
I'm going to have to buy a new one of those because I obviously love the series now. So now I'm just cool, now I have this one.
Yeah. No, you have a super special edition. One of a kind. It's extremely one of a kind.
It's the Walmart edition.
No, it's
you remember when they used to censor all the music?
Oh, yeah. You're right.
CDs, they used to always have the censored ones, and you'd be like, Walmart.
Strikes again. Takes it again. Okay, where do we want to start? I'm gonna let you go. Okay.
So you have the
I have all the notes. The first thing I want to talk about, because I want to save the big things for later, because I feel like they may be a little controversial between you and I.
Oh,
so I want to wait.
We're gonna fight tonight.
We are. We're gonna pleasantly have a discourse, a discussion.
I'm gonna mail you glitter.
Please do. Oh, okay. I got it. Yeah, please do. Where I want to start, I'm going to start light, non-controversial. I was so heartbroken on her journey of she couldn't tell her friends that were in her squad, and she had to distance herself from them because she didn't want to implicate them, get them in danger. That part was so heartbreaking. I wrote multiple notes. I'm like, dang, this is a sad situation for Violet.
I feel like So I sympathized with her, but then I thought, Violet, come on. Come on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is he really much? Violet.
I think, doesn't she? She does lie a little. Well, she tries.
I can't lie. I can't be out here lying.
True.
I'm not a fibber.
She keeps it 100 all the time. But then later on, then she finally does open up to them, and she, tells them. And then, through multiple parts of this book, the squad is like, we're a squad, we stick together. I'm paraphrasing.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they're there for each other.
The Iron Squad throughout this whole series. And and when Xaden tries to split them up, and she was like, and they were all like, I'm sorry, we fly together.
I know! I loved that! I wrote that down as one of my favorite moments in the book. One of my favorite moments.
Started thinking about can I buy on Etsy one of the a wing leader
oh my God,
a section jacket, because apparently I'm that deep in.
Do it. Look for it. I saw on Etsy. Yes, do it. It's got to be out there. I'm sure it's on Etsy. I'm sure. I I'm going to look for you because I saw on Etsy a sign that says, from the last book, when Taryn says because she needs to be emotional to yield in the last book, should I get the wing leader? Remember,
I love that line.
I know.
I see like the stickers and I'm like, how many things should I buy?
Yes.
Get the wing. I'm like, here's my problem. I've told you so many times, I've never done an audiobook. There's something about it that intimidates me and gives me the ick. I am this close to listening to the audiobook just to like listen to them talk to me.
Oh, you should. That would be interesting to see. Like what do the actors sound like versus how they sound? You run that risk. Like, what if Xaden's not as sexy as the voice actor?
Yeah. And especially now that I follow like a couple of those guys who just do like the audio, you're like,
yes.
Huh.
Yes. Yeah, no. And then also in our last episode, when we reviewed Fourth Wing, we talked about, is Rhiannon going to betray her? And she does not.
She doesn't. I honestly, that was something I was going to say to you is like, I owe Rhiannon an apology. Like, I'm sorry. My bad, dude. That's on me.
Yes, that's hilarious.
I know when to say I'm wrong.
I know. I was so happy because I kind of thought it could go that way because, again, my perspective in books, when they talk about how much you can trust a character, you probably shouldn't trust her.
Yeah.
But she really could trust Rhiannon and her squad, and that was amazing. Also, Mira lives.
So far. My guess is book 4 or 5. I still believe that. I'm honestly low-key disappointed Mira didn't know.
You would have preferred her to know.
Orders. Yeah, because she just like came across like such a character, and she is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it was just like when like Violet confronted her, and she was like, "That's above my pay grade. That's confidential." I was like, "Come on, come on, Mira."
Yeah. Well, I think they were in a little bit of a cult, so I think she was brainwashed by the cult, Mira.
Yeah.
Her and Dane.
That her mom is the leader.
Basically, how close to home? How close to home?
Should we talk about her mom now or later?
Let's do it now because I have 2 big sections I don't want to miss. So let's talk about the mom.
Okay. I don't typically cry for third, like secondary characters. We talked about this before. Liam was kind of an exception. Her mom and her character development. I am such a sucker for a redemption arc. You know that. You know I'm holding on to Eris's redemption arc. You know
yes.
If you can sell me a redemption arc, you have me like putty. I'm so weak for it. I don't know why. And her mom's redemption arc hit me so hard. When she died, I cried.
Me too. I definitely cried, especially just like the way she died. I was like,
them.
And all 3 of her kids have issues with her, but they all like were just devastated. And
when Brennan says you're the problem when your 3 children stand on the other side.
Shooketh. I know, but no, I totally teared up and cried when she died too, especially the way she died.
I want to revisit. Can you remind me why he said she sent him to die? I don't really remember why he feels she sent him to die.
I thought, and I could be wrong, let us know in the comments, but my thought was he felt she sends them all to die. Because
like I got that as the overarching thing, but he made it sound like the specific incident he was in. And I thought he was just kind of like a casualty of a situation. But maybe it was just he was still too ignorant to like what was happening.
Maybe. I don't 100% know. I thought it was more general. They were all sent to die. More or less.
Oh my God. When she is at the table having like breakfast or lunch or whatever it is with Brennan, and he gets up and she's like looking at the chair and she said she'll never be waiting for Brennan again to return.
Oh, I know.
The emotional damage I felt instantly. I was just like, oh, that hurts.
Emotional damage.
Because it's so reasonable to be angry with him. Like when Mira punches him in the face, I was like, yes, that is the reaction you deserve. Like you couldn't send like a smoke signal or like a I don't know. Like maybe they've got owls, they've got dragons. I imagine owls can deliver a letter.
That's what I literally was like, where's Hedwig? He can't send a letter.
Or like communicate through Xaden. Like there were so many options. And I get like she could have ruined whatever, but I just feel like telling them your sibling is alive.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty big.
Just went and faced her every week.
I know. That part was rough. It was rough. And when,
I also want to call out that I knew one of my second notes, literally second note beginning when they start talking about Kat.
Oh, I have a lot to say here.
Was the offer for Xaden is going to be a political marriage?
Yes.
Technically wrong, but in a way right.
You were right. Like it was,
Well, the deal was to see her perform her storm magic, if you will. But there had been a political marriage on the table, and that's what I anticipated because why couldn't he just like own up to that? Like just.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, are we ready to get into
that's a little bit of a left fielder, buddy.
Yes. It's a big left fielder. Okay. Are we ready?
Are you ready to talk about Xaden to me?
Maybe.
Sheridan, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Okay. We're going to have a polite discourse.
I don't know if I can be polite with you. I honestly don't like you when you're like this. I don't get you anymore. You've really changed since you went Iron Flame. I have some things to say. And we're going to start here. Okay, you just gave me a very intense look. I absolutely love this book. I love this series. I'm going to read all the books, and I like Xaden and Violet together. That's not what I'm saying. Per our last TikTok post, I got a little frustrated and angry that the book itself went the Kat, Violet, Xaden love triangle, because we could say it wasn't a love triangle because he didn't love Kat or never did or didn't like her anymore. But Violet still felt like it was a love triangle. So we're reading it from Violet's perspective. So I felt like I was annoyed a little bit that I still love this book. It's still absolutely 5-star, but I got annoyed we went down this path. Now they make it up later, Kat and Violet. They hash it out. They respect one another in a really cool way, I think. I really liked how the author did that. And I really loved that the author multiple times had Violet say, like, why are we doing this? And who says, I wrote it down, but I can't remember the name. Someone, it was Rhiannon or Mira, who's like, oh my God, he's just the man. And I was like, this is the energy we need, ladies. I don't remember if it was Rhiannon or Mira, but I was like, yes, like, this is crazy to me. I was frustrated. Here's what I think, because I was initially mad about it. And then I started thinking about kind of the chain of events, right? So first and foremost, I think Xaden didn't bring it up because one, his relationship with Violet was so on and off, like he was still kind of trying to win her back. And second, I think to him, the relationship meant nothing. And that's kind of Xaden's whole personality is like not my problem, not my monkey, not my circus. You know what I mean?
True.
So I imagine he took it that way. But then the third and final nail in your coffin is that when it initially gets brought up, he goes, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about exes? And she decides no. And she specifically says no. Yeah. Everybody has a past and moves on. So he's like, cool. Got you at your word. Listen, is he a classic male energy? Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Listen, in your personal life, if you encounter this conversation with a man and you tell him, no, I'm all set, he's going to be like, thanks for the get out of jail free card. I'm all set on that argument.
Exactly.
He's not going to be like, no, really, I want to tell you about me sleeping with somebody.
Right. No, I 1,000% agree with you. I have parts where I'm angry with Xaden and other parts. This is not a part where I'm angry with Xaden. This is a part where I'm frustrated with the book itself for going in this direction. But I like how Xaden handled it, and I agree with everything you just said. She should have brought it up then to him.
I also think that the whole point, I guess, like, what I feel like the true root of her, like, strife this whole book was feeling like she didn't have any answers. But, like, she also admits to, like, not wanting to ask any questions. But I also agree with, like, what she also says, which is, like, that she was scared of the answers, right? I think they both take a lot of ownership in all of these miscommunications, if you will. My biggest pet peeve was just that it took so much time. That they would just be like, no, another 3 weeks of not talking about it.
Oh my God, I know.
Okay, but you missed him nonstop. Like maybe you just like have like a wine night.
Just hash it out. Just talk about it.
Yeah, just have a chat, have a little bit of makeup. So come on. I just feel like you could I just feel like they were trying to play up her feeling like everybody's always lying to her.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I think you said it perfectly. 2 points from what you said.
Thanks.
I agree. Yes, I'm going to double down because she even says one part is for her to feel grounded because Taryn tells her later, like, it basically you're all over the place. I'm paraphrasing he didn't say that, but he said, you're all over the place and this isn't like you. And she said, I need information to feel grounded. And it was like, yeah, but then I have a lot to say here. But okay, before we get into this, she needs information to be grounded. I got really mad with Sid and I immediately forgave him because of how the writing went. When Kat tells her on the mat, you're just a placeholder, blank, F word for him. Yeah. And then they immediately go into sexy time. I was like, dude, you're proving Kat right. Like, I was like, you only have physical chemistry. You are not opening up. You do not have an emotional connection. But then he stops himself and says, no, I'm not. Oh, you're not just a placeholder, blank. And he's like, we need to talk this through. Because I was going to be pissed if they continue through with the sexy time. No, I agree.
I felt like I almost felt bad for Xaden in a lot of this book. Like he was fighting too hard for something.
Oh, interesting.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there was no sign in a significant chunk of this book outside of her showing up at his room where she verbalizes or shares that she's still interested in him.
That's true.
Now, knowing what we know about his second signet now.
Yeah.
Obviously, he be knowing.
He be knowing. You know what she's feeling.
Attention rude.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was I was like, whew, I didn't see that coming. That was interesting. I
honestly totally didn't remember the second signet thing.
Me neither.
Didn't really think much of it at all.
Me neither. Yeah, I did not.
I was just like, data.
Like, cool, thanks. But yeah, I was happy he stopped and he like proved that because when that was said, yes, so I'm happy he kind of stopped there and like showed like, no, we have more of an emotional connection. So another thing I want to talk a little bit more about, and I feel like you're going to get really mad at me and I'm not ready for this, but I love you.
Why do you want to fight today?
I love you. I don't, because I absolutely loved Xaden in book 1 and believed he loved her in book 1. I still love Xaden, but I in this book, I did not believe he loved her. She's the narrator of the book. So we hear it. We don't get his point of view, as you texted. We don't get his point of view. So she's the narrator of the book. And for the majority of the book, she doesn't believe he loves her. So when I was reading it, I was like, that's all.
No.
Yeah.
I think for a majority of the book, she believes she can't love him.
But she says, she says multiple times, you're right. She does say that later in the book. And I agree. That's true. Yeah. But she also says, I know he's attracted to me, but I don't know how he feels. Or like she does this whole mental track for like at least half the book.
But I feel like he immediately at the end of the last book and even the beginning of this book pretty much lays it out and says, I'm not going to touch you until you agree to like actually work on this with me and talk to me. And I think really the person not trying is her.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
So it's like, how can she not believe he loves her if she's not the one willing to fight it all? Like she wants him to fight pretty much by saying he loves her. That's all she wants. Yeah. But like he wants her to realize that like he's not just going to say these things on a whim and that like he wants commitment out of her the same way she asked it from him in book 1. Do you feel like he doesn't love her? Because like what does he do that isn't?
I think I fell for her narration at the beginning. Now, do think he circles back and he doubles down last quarter of the book where I'm like, no, he's in love back like book 1. Yes. But for maybe the half or the 3/4 of whatever, when they're going back and forth a bit, I was kind of like.
When he's writing her personal letters to tell her about herself.
Not that part. not that. But I kept, again, she's the narrator. So I kept being like, oh, I could see this betrayal coming. I could see it being like, yeah, he's just playing her to get her fall in love. I could see more betrayal coming.
I got her point by being mad that he didn't tell her that his mom, he didn't tell her that her mom was the initial person. That was the only piece that I felt like, okay. I just feel like, I honestly felt like they were both stubborn in their own ways. They obviously needed to like grow and then decide this was what they wanted. So I don't really blame one or the other. I just think it was a bunch of miscommunication.
I agree.
To drag out their relationship.
I agree. No, I totally agree with you. I think they were both very stubborn. And Violet even says it apart, like towards the end, after she finds out the second, she's like, how much more can our love take? And I was like, yeah. How much more miscommunication can your love take? Yeah.
And oh my God. And when he said, how quickly can a person fall out of love?
Oh my God. My heart did break for him then.
Because like he spent his whole life trying to keep secrets and like keep everybody safe. He's got 107 people, 137?
I think so.
People on his shoulders. You can't expect him to just be like, I love you. Here's all my stuff. Like, no,
true.
You're risking all of these people. So I just think like she wanted too much. And I think she didn't want to give anything after she found out about her brother and
True.
But she forgave Brennan right away.
She did. And I wrote down a note about this. I totally agree with you. She calls out even when she tells Rhiannon and her friends, they accepted it with like, hey, that hurt me. I'm upset, but with grace and understanding and love. And she even calls out how she reacted to Xaden. Yes, I agree.
So I just think, so I think he spent the whole book pining for her. I think he spent the whole book trying to build trust and she didn't want to put in any effort. And then she chose to infer all of these feelings based on it.
True. That's very true. Now I have a question for you before we get into our tab note points here. I have a question for you. We both absolutely love Violet in book 1. With these points said, do you love Violet as much in book 2?
Yes, because I actually have spent some time thinking about this.
Okay, cool.
Because I did struggle with her more in book 2, but I felt that she had a very reasonable character arc, especially knowing this is book 2 of a 5-book series.
Oh, yeah.
Because the other option is she becomes Poppy and From Blood and Ash, and she just like levels up every single 5 chapters. And she's like, the god of God, the primary god, the primal god. Like, you know what I mean? She can't just like, she's getting big evolution.
She is.
But she did get a lot of her life pretty much told that she was being lied to. She had to react to that. She had to have emotional growth. I think that her and Xaden had to, especially based on how the whole last book went, even when they were together, she didn't really have all of him, in my opinion, until book 2.
Yeah.
Until she even knew about the alliance, right? So I just think reasonably on the scale, this is a reasonable character development arc.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I felt the same. There are moments where I'd be like, he's made some things extremely clear. He's communicated. He's told you this extremely clearly. You are being stubborn on purpose. But then I'd be like, yeah, she's on her own character journey in her arc for development. This makes total sense. And who knows how we would act in these situations? Probably be just as stubborn. But
So I really did take it as like, I feel like when you have longer series like this, the second book ends up being a lot of world building and a lot of emotion building, because in my opinion, book 3 is going to be all about finding the cure.
Right? Oh, I agree for him. I agree.
So I think if they had just been great this whole book, what would the book have been about? Just the war? True. And I think he would have struggled with, especially with all the conspiracies that are already out there. How would you make this a longevity of a relationship? You know what I mean? So I just think, oh no. Okay, take out your tabs. Let's go.
Nope, I want you to finish.
You're threatening me with holding it. No, I'm fine. Let's go.
No, I want to hear what the rest of that was. I did not mean to interrupt.
That was it. Okay, bring on.
I want to start. I want to bring
on your annotations.
Okay. So the Tiki Talk theories that are out there online is it's a 5-book series and that she may end up at the end with Dane. I have a thesis I'd like to defend of why I now agree. Yes. Now, I'm going to preface this. I do not like Dane. I don't want her with Dane. And I love Xaden as a character, and I want her with Xaden. But when I saw the conspiracy theories, which again are conspiracy theories, so who knows? And then I read certain parts in the book, I was like, the author has opened the door to go back in that direction. Now, also with him being a Venin, also, I think that's going to change things with the mating bonds, with his bond, with the dragon, with Sagael. I think him being a Venin is going to change that. Maybe. We don't know. But, and I think that opens the door to other things happening. So, I'm going to pull out some notes because Dane breaks rules for her. I opened it to the first page where he breaks some rules for her. He kills that bearish guy, which the rule following thing and betrayal was the ultimate thing in the last book. She forgives Dane quite quickly in this book, where she doesn't let Xaden later on. She says multiple times, not quickly. Okay, later in the book, but she says. I still
don't think she forgives him.
She says when Xaden goes to kill him, let me find. I should have organized.
I think she has mercy. I don't think if she forgave him, she brings up all the time that she does not forgive him for Liam.
True, that's true. But let me find. Okay, bring up a point because I'm going to scroll through my tabs to find these. I should have organized these better. This was a faulty system. And when she goes to him and she's like, I need your help. And then there was another quote in here too.
So you think she's going to pick Dane?
I do. But I think it's not going to be until book 4 or 5. And I don't think it's going to be that she picks Dane. I think something's going to happen to Xaden with this Venin storyline that's going to change the bonds. That's going to change things. And I think the authors could be. Now, I could be crazy. We may get to book 5 and all of this is conspiracy and wrong. Probably. I'm not, But I think that she's opening the door. Especially what really stood out to me was she said, I don't know how much more of this our love can take. And if you, that's very logical, and people would say that with issues in their real life, but that's not fantasy romance. Fantasy romance is love against all odds. To say, I don't know how much more of this can take, I think they're opening. I don't think we're in the door, but I think the author's opening the door for Dane redemption and a potential.
I think Dane is getting a redemption arc, but I want to take you back to book 1.
Okay.
Pre-Xaden emotions, okay? This is early on.
True.
Dane kisses her, and he hasn't done anything wrong yet. And she's like, oh, never mind. My bad, dude.
Very true.
There's nothing there. You're telling me she's going to become more, because she was attracted to him in the beginning. True. She liked him. You're telling me that chemistry is going to change because Xaden's a Venin?
I think it could. I think that not because he's a Venin directly, but I think the story could be setting it up where she has to work with Dane to find resolutions and solutions, and they have that in common. And there's multiple times where Dane even says in the book, he's like, you can always talk to me. And she says, I know. And communication is the biggest issue with Xaden. So I think where the author could go is, this is healing. I don't think it's going to be immediate. I don't think it's because he's a Venin, but I just think I could see. I could be so wrong, but I could just see the author opening the door.
That chemistry, though, in what book ever, contemporary fantasy, whatever, have they ever had any form of a sexual interaction that wasn't magnetic?
Yeah, valid point. That's a point towards.
I do think you're right, though. So I was talking to my sister because I couldn't talk to you.
Yes. I wrote this down. I want to hear your sister's thoughts.
So she was telling me, so she agrees with you on the bond breaking. She thinks that Taryn's going to die.
Please no.
She thinks that her dragon's going to become Andrana. I don't want to say that wrong.
Andernana or something. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then, and I said, well, they would all die then. And she was like, well, no, if him being a Venin cuts off him from his dragon, I think that pretty much Taryn and Siegel die.
Heartbreaking.
I was like, oh my God. I still think, and this might be weird. This is like a strange theory because it has literally no backing.
Okay.
I just think that they have some sort of almost mating bond of their own.
No, I agree with you. They have something going on right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I do think that, so I was watching the Fantasy Girls podcast, and they are way more technical than us. They actually go in and break down all the chapters and all the individual things, right? Which is not what you're here for. We're here to drink wine and chat and giggle a little, maybe that. But she talked about how she believes that Violet's second signet is going to be, she's going to be intrinsic. So the real communication that they had, like when they had sex, she heard him in her mind. The only thing in italics is that she needs information.
Yes.
And
true.
So she made this amazing. If you haven't followed them, you should. Again, they're going to be a completely different vibe than us. Very technical and awesome. We follow them. and yeah, she does a great breakdown of it, and she sold me. She moved.
Oh, okay. No, I do believe there's some form of a mating bond or a bond going on. And I do think I did not think of that being her second signet, but I could see it being that. I could see it being like when you explained that, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because even she's like what I said earlier, she needs information to feel grounded.
Yeah, and it's weird because, okay, so my other thought is that, remember in book 1, when they can communicate brain to brain after she bonds with her dragon, and she was like, oh, is this because they're mates? And he was like, more or less. He has never really given us a clean answer, and now we do know he's intrinsic, but he can only understand intentions.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't give you a full like mind-to-mind connection. So it would either be her connection that's allowing it, or some sort of a fated mate situation. And I don't know how that works because they haven't given us any of that on a humans.
I know. I want them to. Like, I want to say it. There were parts I was mad, but I forgave. I love Xaden as a character. I think he's one of the top book boyfriends. Really like him as a character.
I love him.
I know you do. I know you do. Yeah. I love him too. I think you love him a little more, but I love him too.
Okay, so I do want to talk about my love of Xaden.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
In book 2. So I invoke the right to change my mind. I'm putting that out here now. I reserve the right to change my mind. Okay.
Okay. About
if
what?
I had to pick between Rhysand and Xaden at this point, I think I like Xaden more, and here's why.
Okay.
And here's also an argument against your stupid
conspiracy theory that
Dane
could be true.
Theory. Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to refer to it as the stupid theory because I literally don't even want to think of it as real.
Okay.
When he starts getting overprotective of her, which Rhysand does, obviously, over time. ACOTAR spoilers if you're not there.
Yeah. Over time. Yeah,
over time. Go ahead and skip if you're not completed with Silver Flames. Rhysand, when it comes down to actually giving her choices, frequently doesn't. And chooses to be protective. Now, I still love him. Don't get me wrong.
Totally.
I didn't sail on the hate ship, but definitely after Silver Flames, I had different feelings towards him. I guess it put dents in his armor to me.
Gotcha.
Xaden, I thought, had the opportunity to do that in this book. Did do that, and when she screams at him and says, "You're treating me exactly like Dane," and he changes. That's character development.
True.
That's love. That's actually acknowledging and changing. And then she even goes on to say it to, I think, Dane or something, and says, would Xaden let me send you out here? And she goes, yeah, that's why I picked him.
Yeah, she does. No, I agree. I will always love Rhys more, but I agree with your points that you made. But because again, my point in this is you never doubt protectiveness and all that aside, which I find super hot. I want the protect. Again, you've made excellent points, and I agree with them. And I do think Xaden loves her, and I think that there's probably parts I should go back and reread because some of the things he says are absolutely emotionally just like devastatingly perfect.
Beautiful. He always showed up for her.
Yes, he
He
did.
was willing to give up the revolution like a million
True.
times.
That is so true. That you are right. That is so true. But you never doubt Rhys's feelings.
Book 1.
Yeah, but not really. You know where it's going. You know he likes her. You do.
You're telling me at the end of book 1 you were off of the Tamlin ship. You were not.
I was not off the Tamlin ship, but did I believe they were setting up a love triangle because this dude loves Farah? Yes. You know what I mean? Did I want her necessarily to be with Rhys at the end of book 1? No, I was confused. Why a love triangle was being introduced. But do you believe Rhys loves her? You never doubt that. And
I never doubted Xaden though. I never
did because Violet did. But I think what is that term? Maybe we'll get technical. Maybe we won't. I don't know. And I could be totally off. What is that term? Like an unreliable narrator? Where they say I don't know either, but it's like where
come on.
I don't know. Maybe we'll table that. But and Farah and Rhys, now I'm trying to scan my brain to just make sure they don't ever really have miscommunication. They hurt each other unknowingly, but do they ever miscommunicate?
They have miscommunication. I think after the whole throne scene was
they hurt each other unknowingly.
No.
They do.
Unknowingly.
She says things she doesn't mean to him, but do they miscommunicate?
Saying things you don't mean is saying something to hurt somebody. He has to keep things secret because he's a leader of a revolution.
Xaden or Rhys?
Xaden.
Oh, okay, yes. Yeah, no, I agree.
Leader of a revolution.
I agree. And
then he lets her all the way in. He tells her at the very
tells her
the second signet. Okay.
He
said, "Here you go. You could have me killed. Congratulations. Here I am."
That's very true.
You want this? You want me forever? I mean, he just
and I don't think she does.
Ever?
I don't think she does. Because listen to your own argument over this book. How many times did you say he's giving, he's pining, he's doing all this, he's opening up?
She didn't because she was scared. I think she had to accept things and move on.
True. Yeah, I also agree. We'll see where the books go.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I do not want to contradict anything I've said. I love Xaden. I think he's a wonderful male lead. I think he's super romantic. And I think that he does, after we go through a period of not trusting his intentions, then prove to Violet over and over his intentions. I think Violet, again, is the narrator. Again, it would be wonderful to have more Xaden point of view. She constantly has this talk track.
I think the only real leg this argument has, in my mind, is that for Rhysand, if we're going to compare the two,
yes,
we're in this ship. Is that he refuses to tell Farah anything until she commits to being a part of the Night Court.
True.
So he says openly, I'm going to have secrets from you. I'm not going to tell you anything until you make this choice, right? On the flip side, Xaden took a while to figure that out, I think. And so I think the real error was in saying he was going to have secrets and her feeling like secrets had blown up her whole life.
I totally agree with you. And I think
everybody had lied to her.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe that's why she takes a long time to reciprocate and opening up back. I agree with you because I think if Xaden had not used the words, I'm always going to have secrets, it wouldn't have triggered her so much.
Yeah. And I think that they did that out in the right way because also asking for 100% transparency is undoable in any relationship, right? Like if your husband walked in and asked you the meanest thought you've ever had, you'd probably be like, no.
It's true. That's very true. No, I agree. Yeah, that's very true. And I think that, it's unhealthy to have 100% transparency, probably.
Yeah. So I just think they had to reach a middle ground there. And I refuse your argument.
Again,
I yield my time.
Okay. I'm done. I want to reiterate, I don't want her to end up with Dane. I don't want this.
If he does, I'm going to hold you personally responsible.
I'm not the author, but
I'm going to be mad at you.
But I just think she opened specific doors and she said some pointed things. Now, could this all be completely wrong?
There's no attraction.
But I think she's setting it up that it could grow. I think
Decline.
I don't know. I don't want it to
My biggest
happen.
fear is that Xaden just straight up dies at the end.
That's also terrifying, and I also could see that happening.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not willing to debate this.
Okay.
My heart can't take it anymore because now
As
I'm
I
starting to
said-
get like he's gonna die.
Oh my gosh, no. Okay, that has nothing to do with Dane. As I said, I love Xaden. I want the best for him. I want happiness, and I think he's a great male lead. And I think he's super sexy. And I think the way, like, what he tells Violet, and like, yes, top tier. I'm not detracting from that.
The next note I have early on, what is with all the alarming neck snapping? Literally, there's just constantly like a casual moment, and then just like,
that's
what?
true.
Why are people always just walking around snapping necks? Like the friend gets her neck snapped.
I can't remember it either. That when they think
I was
it's
just
Violet.
like again with Jack Barlowe.
Oh my God. Can
and
we talk
saves
about
her.
that? Yes.
Can I tell you that the way that my heart stopped in my body when he was alive at Varish's hands too, my heart physically stopped, and I was like, it was Hoth rising from the dead all over again.
Yes.
I was just like, no, not like this.
Not again. Stop. Okay. That's actually really funny. But no, I totally agree. He's a creepy character. Also, can we talk about how terrible Major Varish is?
Yes, my next note is I want Varish to have the worst death possible.
Absolutely.
This is like Game of Thrones level energy of hate. Like,
no.
if you can think of, there's a couple villains on there, because I feel like I'm just out here spoiling like 6
You're like all of them.
I'm just out here like, do you want to know about One Dark Window, or do you want to know about ACOTAR?
Yeah.
Now let me spoil Game of Thrones for you.
I haven't, but it's too dark for me. I'm not going to.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
Obviously
there's
it's
too
not.
much. There's too much.
This is worse. More
There's
people are
not.
dying
There's
than
not SA.
Or-
There's not R. There's not the
yeah.
R word. All that, which there's a lot of in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not going to ruin Game of Thrones, but there are a couple big villains in it that you really want to see like die bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see you just like die. I want to see you die. Little bum Varish didn't die worse.
Oh, I know. Now, I absolutely did love when Xaden was like, "No, this kill belongs to Violet." That was hot.
Oh.
That was good.
Question though, do you believe Varish is dead? I did not at the beginning, and then they killed him again, and I don't remember. I just am not convinced he's dead.
I am not convinced either, because I see, like, he's truly the most evil. Well,
no, they kill his dragon. That's what it was.
True, but what if he made himself a Venin in a way where he's no longer tied to his dragon in that way?
So that's actually one of my big current conspiracy theories is that Dane's dad and Varish are in with the Venin, and that they are a part of it. That's kind of what I believe. I think they're up in leadership and like helping. I think there's a reason that they don't want people to know what's going on. And I don't think it's about safety. And another point that I wrote is that they make a casual note in this book that the scribe who issues out all of this information that they use for battle brief and all of that, somebody writes it and scans it before it even goes to the king.
True. That's very true.
So the king doesn't even have all the information. Of course, they've already said he knows, but I have this feeling that the head scribe, Dane's dad, and Varish are in on some sort of like a helping provide the Venin with what they need in exchange for power, etc. when they take over.
I agree. No, I totally agree, especially because how the scribes are in charge of the archives, and Jacenna is like scared of getting caught. The head of the scribes is in on it somehow.
Yeah.
He's in on it.
Yes. And then on top of that, remember that Jack is a known Venin, and they purposely brought him back. They spent time bringing him back. So Varish knows he's a Venin. released him back into the Rider's Quadrant like it was nothing. Okay?
Exactly.
I just cannot believe that these things are just mutually exclusive.
No, I completely agree with you. We don't know yet what happens to the dragons if their rider becomes a Venin, right? Like Solus is killed. I also love, we cannot not talk about Adarna. I hope I'm saying her name right. Her glow up. We have to talk about that. But we haven't explored what happens to their dragons when the rider becomes Venin.
So let's go back to your theory and my sister's theory, right? If becoming Venin separates your bond from the dragon, you wouldn't die if they die, right? So Varish could still be alive even though Solus is dead. Also, yes. Varish makes a comment early on in this book about how they could control the dragons.
Yes.
And that was one of Jack Barlowe's little nuggets of data of like, oh, it's about having control. All they do is seek power. I think it's all about them being tied to these Venin.
I agree. I totally agree. Which is kind of like, yeah, it'll be scary, I think, if Varish comes back because he seems really sadistic and cruel. So I'm like, oh, I have like a pit in my stomach when I hear his name for her, you know?
That's the kind of torture I feel like that's the mild torture of what we're going to experience.
Mm-hmm. Which was really messed up. Like I felt that pit in my stomach reading those chapters. Didn't love her going through that, but I did. But I did love.
I'm not a huge fan of the torture scenes. I don't know about you.
Sure. Don't want to watch it. But let's talk about Adarna's glow up to strength.
So, she is the last standing of her kind.
I know, which is so cool.
She has slept for as many years as the Venin have been running free.
True.
Waiting for something.
Okay, where are you going with this?
I'm just saying, her signet or her power alone is going to be something to take down the Venin.
Oh, true. I was getting nervous. You were saying she had something to do with the Venin. And I was like,
I think whatever power she's going to manifest is going to be
how they defeat them.
Venin killer.
Yeah.
Venin killer.
Yes, no, I
Venin away.
Venin away. And I thought it was so, like, on a cute level. She was like, because she can, like, camouflage, basically, right?
Yes. So I feel like they allude to that, but they don't really confirm or address.
If she can. But she says, which I thought was cute, she just wanted to be like Taryn. So she made her scales black. Like, that was cute. That's sweet. But her scale, like, she was grayish.
She was gold, and then she was. Actually, I thought she was somewhat black like him, but she blends into the like mountain or whatever.
She does, yes. And then Violet's like, no, I thought I saw, but I just thought maybe it had to do with adolescence. Your scales aren't exactly like Terrence or something. She's like, they're not black. Violet says that. And then she says, no wonder you could blend in with the mountain. It was like you weren't there. And she's like, I'm good at hiding.
Yeah.
So I think she shapes.
But she's still chameleon.
Yes.
So can she still lose this too?
Valid point. That's a good point. I'm not sure. I guess.
Okay, so I also put the dream about the sage is making me nervous. I think they're having two separate dreams.
Xaden and Violet?
Mm-hmm. Or she was seeing his dreams, but I think their point of views are different.
I agree.
So that's why I said I'm worried it's the old scribe leader. Also, how would the sage know enough about her?
Very true. That makes sense if it's the old scribe leader. I think it's part of his power to be like a boogeyman of sorts and can go into your dreams and you think you're dreaming. But
these are visions. They're not dreams. And I feel like them not talking about it is really doing a disservice to the storyline.
Please share that you've had the same dream. Please talk about it.
Like, could you guys just talk about how, like, you have, like, very vivid nightmares of being taken by a sage? Maybe, I don't know. Just like, if it was my idea.
I believe you. I think it's the scribe leader. That makes, like, I didn't think of that, but when you said that, I was like, you're right. How would he know about her? That much better.
Side note. So at the beginning of all the chapters, there are clips from books and then Xaden's notes to Violet. The way they are written has been making me very stressed.
Okay, tell me more. Why?
Because it doesn't say it'll say like recovered communication between Xaden Reworth and Cadet Violet Sorrengail, which by the way, you were right. Sorrengail, not Sorrengelli. I don't know what the fuck.
I love Sorrengelli.
You're right. Sorrengail. I'm a fool.
No.
Yeah. There is
That's
the way
stressful.
that some of those clips are done. But I think the beginning of the first book says this is like an archive story, essentially. Okay. But it's just making me anxious.
Yeah, no, that did not click in my head, but I think two things. I think one, it proves your sister and my theory, maybe, or it doubles down. It's a little more evidence towards it. Or two, he goes into some form. One of them goes into some form of hiding after all of this. Not hiding in a bad way, but almost like...
I think this is like future records of them as leadership and like leading the revolution.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
like
I can see that.
Snippets of retelling, like this is almost like future Scribes books.
Okay. I just thought with the word like recovered, but that makes sense too. Like
recovered
they're going back in time.
That they went to war and died. That's what scares me.
Oh, okay. Because it's just meaning that it's from the past, whether they're in hiding or not. It's just recovering from the past. And why I went to maybe they're in hiding is they've recovered and found it, but they're both happy and alive.
So far in the future.
True.
But it's just the recovered is the word that gives me anxiety. Like, where do you recover it from?
True. Well, I really hope they both live. I don't want the theory to be true on any level. Either. I don't want that. That'd be devastating.
The prince knowing... I was shocked.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God.
Yes. One of my notes is how much I love the prince, Eric, or whatever, however you pronounce his name. Eric.
I feel like it's like, I do like him. He has potential. He has future potential for a side love story that I'm going to be invested in.
Me too. I know. Same. He's a good side character. Eric, I think.
But with an A.
Mm-hmm.
Aric.
Mm-hmm. Aric.
That's what I get for reading. Taking guesses.
Well, if you listen to the audiobook, you'll know how they're pronounced.
That's what I'm thinking. I think I need to go back for one, the pronunciations of everything, and two, just like relive.
I know. I do want to say all my things I've set aside. I absolutely loved this book and I love this series and I'm obsessed and I need to know what happens.
Okay. Back to torture.
Okay. Oof.
I feel like we haven't talked about it, but Avarish touches on this when they bring Dane in to extract the information from Violet. He makes a comment to him that sounds like he's the one torturing civilians. Dane is going and pulling data from civilians. Oh. He's like, it's nothing different than what you've been doing to the civilians.
Oh, I need to reread. I don't remember that. I need to reread.
He makes a comment like that, and I was like, because my first reaction was, oh my God, this is going to be Dane. So, like, my first note is, of fucking course, Dane was chosen for torture. And then my second one was, Dane is the one torturing the civilians. I don't think he actually is, again, knowing what we know, but I think he was extracting information from them.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Like, he is going to them, and he's taking that. That makes sense.
His dad is in on shit.
He absolutely. And Dane even says he makes the mistake of trusting his dad instead of Violet. So he could have gone along with whatever his dad suggested or like manipulated him to do. I could see that. Dane did say even to Violet that he trusts his dad. He didn't trust Violet. So I could totally see his dad like manipulating Dane and him going along like with whatever and taking the memories from civilians. Absolutely.
Yeah. Her seeing Liam when she was tortured.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
I have a potential glass spoiler here, so skip like a quick second. But this made me think of like when Aelin was getting tortured and she only had Fenrir.
Yeah. I know.
My heart was so sad of her seeing Liam over and over. But also, why is she seeing Liam?
Valid
I don't
question.
believe that's
Why?
a figment. I do not believe that's a figment because she has a lot of moments with Liam in this book.
She does. Yes.
He knows stuff is going on. He gives advice. Something is up there.
I agree. I totally agree. Ooh, what if he goes into like some form of like ghost afterworld, but he's like not corporal, like he doesn't have a body that he can like visit, like something to do with the magic? I don't know.
Or what if whatever her signet is allowing her to see Liam?
So she sees dead people? Maybe.
I don't know. But
yeah, maybe.
I think he's a little too vivid for it to be a figment of her imagination. True. I do not believe that Liam is a figment of her imagination.
Because doesn't he even help carry her at one point? Yeah, like in her. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think you're totally right.
There's something there.
Agreed. I cannot wait to find out what it is. Like the third book cannot come soon enough. I need closure on that. I wrote that down as a note too. I was like, wow, she's seeing Liam a lot. And they're having some pretty in-depth conversations.
And he's like telling her, like, get up. Keep moving. Giving her tips on the situation. Like, I don't think, tells her what's going on with Xaden at one point.
Absolutely. Oh, her and Sloane, his sister, like they're making up towards the end. That was sweet. That was sweet.
When she says it's her fault. Honestly, her as like the mentor vibe was so cute too. Like I said, I'm so behind them both. I just think they have their own character arcs to go through, and I have accepted it.
Yes.
And I want you to, and to never bring
I never said I don't accept them, and I loved their character arcs. I was emotionally invested. I had never said that. Also,
even if Varish is dead, if they save Jack, can't they save Varish?
True. They could bring him back. Same thing. Oh, I was pissed and hurt at the healer that she's known again her whole life.
Nolan?
Again, exactly. Being a part of the situation, the bad guys.
And then here's what I hate. I hate when you have characters like that and they give them like a nice brush off as to like they were just doing their best. Like, I don't give a shit about your best.
No.
Nolan.
No. Sorry.
You bringing her back over and over and over again so he could torture her.
You knew what you were doing. Dane didn't even torture. Dane didn't even torture, and he did this. Like, this is crazy to me. So crazy to me.
Every time that they went into what was the council's name for the rebellion?
Oh, I think they called them the Assembly.
The Assembly, thank you.
Yeah.
Anytime that they went into the Assembly, and every time Violet walked in, they were like, we're not going to have General Sorrengail's daughter in here. And every time he was like, her son's standing right here. So, I love Brennan.
Me too. I do.
If he dies, I die.
I know. I don't want any of her siblings to die. I don't want Mira to die. I hope not. Let's not say that.
I think for sure Mira is going to die. I'm telling you, book 4 or 5. Death. And
I really hope not. I really there are a few characters.
I hope not too. I don't want her to die.
Me neither. But that's what you think is going to happen.
I think she's going to die.
I hope not. There are some characters I can't accept. Rhiannon, now that she's proved herself, also
I love her so much.
Yes. Now that there's pretty much it could still happen, and I hope not. But it doesn't sound like she's going to betray her. Rhiannon, Mira, Brennan, Riddick, yeah. Sloane, and then the dragons. Any of the dragons.
If Sloane dies too, I can't deal with that.
Messed up.
I can't emotionally deal with that. I'm scared about the dragons. A dragon dies.
I know.
Between one of the top 3 dragons, one of those dragons are dying.
I hope not. I really hope not. And then it's also so sad when she's like trying to put all her power into the Wardstone before her mom takes over, and her mom basically kills herself to put her power into the ward. When Taryn is like, I chose you for a reason, and if you go, you're not my, like, what did he say? He's like, you're my last rider. Like, you're not going to be my next one. I was like, I teared up at that. Teared up.
My sister also gave me her next prediction nugget. Are you ready?
Okay, yes.
She thinks that Taryn's last rider is the Sage.
Stop. Interesting.
They're very weird about talking about his last rider.
They are. And he just kind of have a mysterious
And she said that, and I was just like, I'm going to.
That would be really funny. You're like, I can't handle this.
Honestly, cannot handle this kind of hurt in my heart right now.
I hope not. Well, even if he was, Taryn is still
they can disconnect.
Yep. Yep. And I think that Taryn and Violet's bond is more than just a dragon and rider's bond. I think Taryn, and because they make a point to say dragons don't really get emotionally invested in human affairs, yada,
He
yada,
cares
yada.
a lot. He does everything for her.
He does. He does. He really does. If any of those, honestly, this sounds messed up. No, I don't want any of those 3 dragons to die.
I can't handle it.
Also, I can't handle everything I've said today standing. I cannot handle if Xaden dies. For me, that will be emotionally devastating and change the series for me.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't do it.
I can't have him die. But then again,
Nope.
how would he be alive and not be with Violet? Like, you're
True.
literally crazy.
True. I never said I want this theory to happen. I just said I think the author opened the door. That's all. I think logically, some of the things she did, some of those TikTok conspiracy theories are sounding more possible. Not wanted. Goodness, no. I do not want. And I don't want her with Dane. I want her with Xaden. And I want them to just run off into the sunset. Yes, exactly. There are some points where I'm like, when I was reading at the end and he's like, we can just leave now. Like, I want to save you. I don't want you hurt. Like, we can just leave now. And she's like,
I love him.
Yes. And then I was like, you know what? In real life, that's probably what you should have done. But then we wouldn't have a book. But yes, go be happy.
My next note.
Okay.
Cat needs a good punch to the face.
She does. Oh,
just one good.
She does.
You know what I mean? Just one good hit. She would learn her lesson. We wouldn't have had to wait so long for her. If she just had one good hit.
So true. And they do work it out. I do respect what the author did of how like Violet saves her. Cat stops her BS. But she had some really strong BS for a long time.
Yeah, and honestly, too much of that would be annoying. Like, I don't want to watch 2 girls fight over a boy.
Nope. Agreed. That's why I love whoever said it. I wish I could remember, like, at the end of the day, he's just a man or whatever. Like, yes.
I also put, and again, this is before I got to the end.
Okay.
So how quickly I was proven right. They're too happy, which means I'm anxious.
Yeah.
Every single time. We're back together. Everything's fine.
Something's going to happen. The narrator said nothing was fine.
Nothing was fine.
Do you think when Xaden goes up to Jack and he's like, what's the cure? And Jack is like, there isn't one. I think they could find one. I think the theory could take multiple ways. I think we're going to go this path, or I think they find a cure and they ride off into the sunset, like you said at the end of book 5.
Maybe even Andronna is the cure. Like she maybe doesn't kill, maybe she heals. I don't know. Maybe this is going to be some also thrown to glass stuff. Well, I do think that the reason Violet has the dreams, though, the sage's dreams, I think that knife had something to do with it.
Oh.
I think that her getting stabbed knife, things have been different since the knife.
True. And she started having those dreams.
Mm-hmm. There's something about that's making me think, have they both been wounded by a venin before, where extreme healing was needed? There's just something about that injury that seems to initiate some of that contact. Like, can communicate if criteria met.
If they are. Okay. Yeah. No, that would be very interesting. I can see it. That's Lord of the Rings. When you get stabbed by a mogul blade, they can communicate with you and stalk you, basically. So I could see that happening.
That would make a lot of sense to me. And maybe that is what I'm thinking of. Because I was like, it was in my mind from something else I've read or maybe seen.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's
interesting.
There's a lot of interconnection here and a reason they're after Xaden and Violet. And they did say in the beginning, Xaden and Violet on the same side is essentially absolute destruction.
True. Like they're very powerful together. I had a question because there was something. Why did he have a previous agreement with them, arrangement or something where at the end of the book, they're like, he says they're waiting for me. How did he know that? And why did I miss that?
Which part?
When the Venin at the very end and the sage is waiting, because remember they said, there's been so much death and destruction and we haven't even had their full army come yet. And they're waiting. The sage is waiting.
Mm-hmm. And I think he wants Xaden or Violet.
Okay. So
He's
that's
been
what it
looking
was.
for one of them. That's why he was
Okay.
telling Xaden, and he could feel her dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was saying, well, we're going to go get Violet then.
True.
Unless you hand yourself over, pretty much. So I think, because he even goes into Violet's dreams to talk about her power. And when they go to Xaden at the end, I'm led to believe that he has had similar dreams. So they're looking to harvest their power in some way.
True. Very true. I wonder if it's like a way that they can make more Venin.
Or Wervin.
Or Morven. True. Interesting. Very interesting to see what happens.
I could also see Dane fuck again.
Yeah, no, I could too.
Seeing like his dad coming through and seeing a character redemption arc that is not there.
Yeah. I hope Dane stays the course of his redemption arc and it doesn't fall off. I like Dane having a redemption arc.
I did too.
I liked it.
Because they didn't villainize him enough in the first book for me
True.
to be.
Like he's truly a big bad.
Yeah, he just kind of seems like a sad little boy who was doing the wrong things.
Right, exactly. But he's not Varish.
No.
And he's not the Sage.
Or his dad.
Or his dad. His
dad trying to continue to send assassins after them. That was so stressful.
So stressful. Can you also, like, you're just at school. This made me think of Hogwarts too. It's like you're just at school and left and right, you're like trying to fend off assassins.
Everybody's like, that's
this
fine.
Is crazy. Yeah, like that's okay. Oh, Little Mermaid. Also loved how some of the professors were like, we were waiting for you to do this.
Yes. The ones that came with, it did give Harry Potter. You're right. That's really good.
I was like, that's McGonagall. That's
yeah. So and my last notes are, what the fuck is ending?
I know. Especially because like I thought that we were going to get more harm sooner. And then when Taryn tells her he's alive, but doesn't say like he's okay, I was like, something happened.
Yeah. I thought he got taken.
Okay.
So honestly, I'll take him being infected on their grounds over being taken.
True, because that would lead to torture, like more torture.
Yeah, well, or just like forced change, like because there were tiers of being a Venin. Remember,
that's
like light
true.
red arrows. So like, there's got to be, I don't know,
something.
paths.
Yeah, I think that they're going to find it. I think that, again, it depends on the path the author takes, but I could also just as much see them finding a cure for him in the end. I do not think he stays a Venin and she stays a human by book 5 and they're together. I think one, like, he either has to become a human again or the sad path.
I refuse to accept that path.
I know. Yeah, so he becomes a human again and they find a cure. That's the path I'm going to choose to believe.
And they're in love.
They're in love. He loves her very much.
Her sister's dead.
No, we're going to say in this world, all siblings live. Mm-hmm. All siblings live. Mm-hmm. All friends. Not one more lost friend.
Right now, people die every 30 seconds and we're in book 2. Okay.
I really do.
The halls are littered.
They are. I know. It's wild out there at best, guy.
But I will say, Violet as a flawed character. So this is my summary of Violet. Okay. I thought that she was a flawed character, which is what you want in a character, right? Flaws. Yeah. You can't have a perfect character while maintaining a relatable internal talk track.
True. No, I totally agree. I would agree with that summary. And again, like I believe too, if I were put in Violet's shoes with Xaden, some of the stuff that she says is extremely valid. And I respected 100%. Her reactions instead of, I respected her skepticism. Yeah. While the back and forth could get, I was like, come on, let's move this just a little bit along. Yeah. He's doing all these things. I respected that she would sit there and think and be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like she had healthy skepticism. Exactly. Yeah. I agree. How would you summarize Xaden?
Perfect.
He is pretty perfect. I was trying to find my favorite quote for him and I lost my tab, but he just had some amazing quotes this book.
I loved him, especially once he came for her when she was getting tortured and the way he came for her. Like I said, like he towed the line so perfectly. I don't know. It just felt like he always delivered.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There have been other books I read where the male lead wasn't there in time or like, you know what I mean? Things didn't happen that way. I thought I was happy.
I was really happy when he came for her. And you were right. You had a good point earlier. He basically was like, I will sacrifice the whole revolution.
Yeah, he was like, I do not give a flying. Yeah, I can't imagine. The only way I imagine them not together is if he dies. Because what's he going to do? Just be like, okay, you and Dane have fun out there.
True. Unless he pulls we could play devil's advocate this whole podcast.
We're going to see Dane fall in love with somebody else here very soon. I'm going to guess next
Potentially. Book. Okay, which I would be in support of. Again, I don't want Violet with Dane. So I would love to see Dane happy with someone else.
I just think you're getting actual character growth.
Yeah. From all of them. Three of them.
Do you have any other notes before we dive into ratings?
I just want to talk so much again about how much I hated Kat. And I really want to underscore how much I really hated some of the things she said. And I really want to say that there was a lot and it was pretty bad. And you know what? It was petty. It was bad and it was petty.
And everybody thought she was petty.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. And but I am glad that they made up. So it's like hard for me to still be as mad as I was in the middle of it because of how it ended, where you're just like, fuck, by the time we talked about it, I've moved on.
I know. I wish we had talked about it in the middle of reading that because I was so livid. I was just like, I hate this character. Gross. I hate this situation. But then they do make it up and it's good.
Yeah. And like what she wanted from Xaden was sad.
True. True.
And when he's like, you don't have to like somebody to.
I know. But then I was like, okay. So for me, okay, we could just talk about this back and forth. When he said that, maybe I'm crazy. Possibly. When he said that, my mind immediately went like, oh yeah, like you're doing to Violet. I know I'm crazy.
How?
Because
how
remember they did this whole no, because I didn't say okay. I need to rephrase that. Not like how you're doing to Violet, just like like how you could be doing to Violet.
Yeah.
I want to rephrase that. Not how you are, but how you could be.
I think he shows every step of the way that's not the case. So that's crazy to me.
True. Why did my mind think that? Why am I crazy?
Because you doubled down on her talk track. You went in with her.
I did.
And I was
did.
We have the full perspective as the reader.
I don't know. I followed her narration. I was like, oh, again, because I was like, you make some valid points on skepticism.
You're like, you know what? Fuck him. You're right.
Well, and she does. but
I'm sorry. What does she do?
Another note I wrote down, which is toxic. I'm not gonna lie, but it's how I felt. We had so much Violet jealousy. Next book, I know he's a Venin, so who knows if Venin can feel jealousy. I need him to be extremely jealous next book.
Well, you don't have his point of view. That's the problem.
True, I wish we got his point of view.
Well, yes. I have it in book 1.
True.
In my bonus chapters.
I know. I want those. But I want his mixed point of view in the book where we can see him pine and feel jealous.
He is super jealous of Dane in the extra chapters.
Good. In book 1. In book 2, I hope he's jealous. And he does kind of, he has animosity with Eric for a reason. But I think there's some undercurrent of he doesn't like him being close to Violet and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But I want more because of what we had to go through with Kat at first. I want more.
So, star rating. What do you give this?
It's 5-star.
Yeah, great.
5-star.
I'm obsessed.
It's amazing.
This is literally all I am now. This is me now. I am Iron Flame.
Oh my God. I loved because I texted you, how'd you feel when you finished it? And you were like, I am a different person. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It was just it's like one of those books, like how I felt when I finished ACOTAR or Talk, or like some of my favorite books. I just there's that moment where you finish and you're just like,
it's so good. No, I'm obsessed. And it feels so good to be so obsessed with the series like that again.
It's been a long time since I've been absolutely 5-star obsessed.
Absolutely. Same. Absolutely. Yeah. If I could give it more stars, I would, because I literally wanted to just, in the aspect of, I just wanted to, you can't put it down. Can't put the books down. They're so good.
Wanted to ingest it in my brain. There were points where I was 75% through and things were starting to get too calm. And I was like, God, I just want to download the rest of it.
I know. Yeah. True. So how would you rate it on Spice?
2.5 again. They spent a lot of time apart. They spent a lot of time working on their stuff. Xaden will not touch her.
That's true. He did not.
He's like, no, not like this, which I also loved.
Me too. I did like that. I did like that.
How can you say this?
I said it's a theory online that I can see happening.
You backed up.
I can see it happening, but I don't want it. Wanting and seeing is different. I don't want it. I'll be upset if it happens. I did like how he was like, no,
blame you. I'm telling you. I'm going to literally hold you accountable.
I literally am not the
Rebecca
author.
writes.
Not the author, so I cannot.
Cahoots.
I'm not in cahoots with anybody or anything.
You're like, honestly, she wouldn't even know my name.
No, she would just be like, okay. But I'd be like, I gotcha. I saw you. I saw what you did there, Rebecca. I saw you open that door. But I hope not. I hope it's a closed door. I hope it's not. I would rate it also 2.5. It would not be my fault. Oh, but you know what? If it happens, I'll take responsibility because it would be so tragic. I would be like, you know what? I did speak it into the universe, and that's my bad.
You did.
That's my bad.
I do hope that we start getting more point of views as we go on.
Same.
If we don't, I will be fine. But it would be cool if, especially towards the end, maybe book 4 and 5, because I think she confirmed this next book is still just Violet's point of view.
Okay.
If book 4 and 5 jumped around, would be cool.
Yes, I want Xaden's point of view more.
I want her brother's point of view too. Brennan's, you know what I mean. Like you can build a lot of different
story arcs,
side romances and things that I think would be interesting later on.
I agree. I totally agree. I would also rate it 2.5 on spice. Just because there's a lot of buildup, and there are spicy moments, but it's definitely not. They take it slower for sure.
Yeah, and smaller, not in depth moments.
They're not in depth. They're quick.
Honestly, the dragons are having a better time.
They are. Okay. So that brings me up to that when I was texting you about. I tried to explain this book to my husband and what it was about, and I told him about the dragons and the riders, and he was like, "What? So the dragons and the humans go up in the sky and have sex together?" And then he made a dragon noise. I am not lying. He was like,
"Oh my god, what was the dragon noise?"
It was so the dragons are like, "Ha-ha," like a chicken. Basically, and I was like, no, absolutely not. What on the world are you talking about? The dragons are mated to each other. They have a mating bond. I was like, yeah.
Different kind of party up there.
Different kind of party. No human and dragon intercourse in this book. There are shifter romances, but not in this book. But yeah, all in all, I absolutely love this book.
Me too. I literally cannot wait. I pre-ordered Onyx Storm to ease the pain of my loss.
Same.
Oh, now I can't wait. I guess you just wait forever.
I know. I want all the merch. January will be here before you.
Oh my god, I want all the merch. Mm-hmm. I want to become a cadet.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Sounds awful. There's a lot of running.
It does.
I would not make it. I would rather make it down the walkway of the gauntlet.
No, I would not make that parapet. In the rain? No.
A dragon rider, I'm very scared of heights. No.
True. Also, I wrote down as a note, I just remembered when they all in book 1 are kind of giving Violet crap about having a saddle, and Taryn is like, no, humans don't speak for dragons. This works. I was like, you know what? Again, think smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Every rider should have a saddle.
Well, I think it speaks to his care of her.
Absolutely.
And his dedication to her as a rider over.
Oh, absolutely. But it's why did they all give her such crap about that? They just made it more efficient and better.
Because it's just they see a way to do it.
Gotcha. Yes. But still, I was like, they're being innovative. And you're crapping on it, and she's leaves ahead. Yeah. Exactly. So good. But those are all the notes that I had.
Same. I have no game planned because it was just obsession.
So if it's fun, just no kids, it's all going to be Xaden. Okay. I could think of some people fucking kill that are bad. That we don't have to play if
Okay,
you don't want
let's
to.
go. No, I'm
The
ready.
Sage, Varish, and Jack Barlowe. To traumatize you like that. Okay. I'm gonna make it a little better. Jack Barlowe, the Sage, and Dane. Varish is terrible, so let's leave him out.
Why would you? That's too easy. Because obviously, I'm going to marry Dane. I'm going to.
So you're on the Dane theory.
I'm going to kick Barlowe. No, I'm going to kick Varish, and I'm going to fuck Barlowe.
Okay.
I feel like that's the only answer.
I think that's the only answer too. Now add in Varish. What do you do? Dane's out of it.
Wait.
Back to my original one. Varish, Sage, Jack Barlowe.
Oh, wait. I didn't put the Sage in my last.
You did it.
Hang on. Let me try again.
Rid of it.
Okay. So I would. Oh, okay. That's easier, actually.
Okay.
I would kick Barlowe, fuck the Sage, obviously. And then
marry Varish.
Marry Dane. Well, in the
Okay.
first scenario. In the second scenario, I kill Varish, fuck Jack, marry
The
the
Sage.
Sage.
Okay.
I mean, he's malleable. I'm confident he's malleable.
He's malleable. And he's like probably, you know what? Dark fantasy romance. He's someone's love interest.
He would be the male
there.
lead. He's misunderstood.
He's misunderstood.
He honestly was told he wasn't powerful, so he had to get the power from the
Exactly.
women. Honestly, no, he's probably got small dick G, to be honest.
Yeah, this isn't his story. He's the villain.
Yeah, it's giving short, man.
I almost said something bad, like Lord Farquaad. Can you imagine Lord Farquaad being the Sage, just out there?
Oh, the rising orbit.
Right? Like, okay. All right, sir. Go to bed. Like,
Wouldn't you recognize the Sage, though?
You would. Yeah, that's a good point. Huh.
They work for the Sage.
They do. And the Scribes are involved somehow.
Higher up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some sort of plan to hand them over as like feed, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
I don't know.
I agree.
Just
Well, now
just
I'm
goofy
gonna
thought.
just a goofy thought. Now when I read book 3, book 3, I'm gonna think of Lord Farquaad as the Sage.
It makes you feel better, man.
It does.
He's like, no, he has Voldemort energy.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yes. That's so true. They're the chosen ones. You're so right. He's Voldemort.
I'm telling you. So I think that a lot of books or movies or whatever all play on each other at this point in time.
Totally.
That's fine. This is not a negative thing. But this whole book makes me think of Game of Thrones meets Divergent meets Harry Potter.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. Harry Potter from Blood and Ash, ACOTAR with Xaden.
ACOTAR, there's some ACOTAR lifting here.
There is. I haven't read Divergent and I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but the House of Dragon ones I've seen enough of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just Game of Thrones from like a death and severity point of view. Like, for example, Divergent I think has a ton of parallels to this book, but it is a different kind of young adult. The fact that they classify this as young adult is mind-boggling to me.
That's
but
crazy
whatever.
to me.
That's
Death left and right. Death left and right.
Left and right. You're not going to see that as much in like a Divergent. But you see it all the time in Game of Thrones. So that's kind of where my mind goes.
That makes sense. But yeah, it's amazing. 5-star read. I cannot wait for the 3rd.
Literally can't wait.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, you heard it here first through the grapevine. If you like what you heard, you can follow us on TikTok or Instagram at Sippin' on Spice, or on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Also at Sippin' on Spice podcast. We hope you had a good time. We enjoyed it.
And cheers. See you next time.